Welcome to Book Look. I'm your host, Jennifer Anderson. On today's show, I'm thrilled to introduce two very special guests to our set. First is Shanika Smith, a literacy coach from Pine Valley Elementary. She and I will review some great reading strategies that parents can do with their children. Then, joining me is local children's author Daryl Rackley. His series of books called The Rack Pack are beautifully illustrated stories that capture the fun of outdoor play. So don't go away, we'll be right back.
Impossible.
It's never too early to start reading to your kids.
Are you prepared for what awaits you?
There are amazing possibilities when you open a child's mind to reading. Log on to the Library of Congress website and let the journey begin.
Welcome back to Book Look. Our first guest is Shanika Smith. She's a literacy coach at Pine Valley Elementary School. Today, she and I will be talking about ways that parents can help their children with beginning reading. Shanika, can you tell us a little bit about book introductions?
Yes. A book introduction is just like a brief overview of the story. I like to think of it like a movie trailer. My husband and I, we go to the movies, and the trailers that come on, we watch them. It's just a little synopsis of what the movie's going to be about, and then that lets us know if we want to go see that movie or not.
Okay.
And usually we're either excited or we're not going to watch it. And that's the same thing with the book introduction. You're giving your child a brief overview of what the book is going to be about, hoping to get them excited about wanting to read it.
Wonderful. Well, we have a book here, a pretty common beginner reader type book.
Right.
Would you show us how to do a book introduction on this book?
Yes. And let me tell you, when you're introducing your book, you want to, of course, tell them what the title is, go over any vocabulary words that they may not know, any tricky language patterns that they're not used to hearing, and also be motivated and get them excited and wanting to read. And doing that will give them an understanding of what the book is going to be about, the meaning of the story. So if they're struggling, knowing what the book is going to be about can help them predict what a word may be. All right, so along comes Jake. Let's take a look at this story. This book is about a little boy named Jake. And he's the little brother of Ben and Anna, and this is mom and this is dad. Now the parents and the big sister and the big brother are doing their chores. They have work to do. And every time they're doing something, along comes Jake to mess things up.
Oh, okay.
So let's take a look. We have Ben and Ann, and it looks like they're making the bed, right? And what do you think Mom, Dad, and Ann are doing?
Well, it looks like they're in the garden.
They
maybe doing
are.
some hoeing
They
or
are. Yes.
helping with flowers.
You think you can find the word garden for me?
Let's see.
Garden.
Starts with a G.
Starts with the G. Very
there.
good. Run your finger on it and say garden for me.
Garden.
Yes, Ann and Dad are working in the garden. So let's take a look. Oh, now here is Ben and Mom painting. And along comes Jake. What is Jake doing?
Looks like he's trying to paint too, but not quite the same way that Ben and Mom are painting.
Yeah, Ben and Mom are doing a very good job. And along comes Jake to mess things up. He's cute though, right?
Very cute.
Do you have a little brother?
No.
Well, little brothers are always getting into things. Oh, now take a look. We see Mom and Dad are working on the car, and here Dad and Ben are doing something. What does it look like they're doing?
Washing clothes.
Yeah, washing clothes or doing the laundry, things like that. Right, they are washing. Find the word washing.
Right there.
Yeah, run your finger on it and read it for me.
Washing.
Washing. Sometimes we say washing clothes, sometimes we say laundry, but they're just doing the washing. Oh, what do you think Ann and Mom are?
Looks like they're cleaning up in the bathroom.
They are cleaning up in the bathroom. How did you know they were in the bathroom? What told you that by the picture?
There's a tub, a sink, a toilet, so it looks like a bathroom.
They are. They're in the bathroom, and they're working really hard, aren't they?
Yes.
And along comes Jake.
Oh my.
Look at Jake. Oh my goodness,
Toilet
that Jake.
paper everywhere.
Everywhere. Now you think Mom and Ann are happy about that?
No.
What do you think they're thinking right now?
Maybe they wish Jake wasn't there.
Yeah, possible. Find something else to do. Maybe with Dad and Ben somewhere. What do you think Dad and Ben are doing?
Looks like they're washing windows.
They are washing windows. Do you think you can find the word windows for me?
Well, I know windows.
Mm-hmm.
And that W right there at the bottom.
Yes, and if I cover up this part, do you see the win part in windows?
I sure do.
Yes, that will help you sometimes if you just cover up a chunk of the word. It can help you figure out what's going on in the story. Very good. Every time Ben, Dad, Mom, and Ann are doing something, along comes Jake. All right? So would you like to read this story? I can help
Sure.
you. Let's read the title.
Along comes Jake. Along comes Jake. Ben helps Ann with the bed. And I'm using my finger to track
Yes.
because normally at the age of the child who'd be reading this book, they need to track in order to keep their place in the book.
Absolutely, to keep their track, to find out where they are, to show that one-to-one. But once the book becomes familiar, you know what you can do?
Get rid of the finger.
Get rid of the finger, because we want them to be fluent. And sometimes keeping your finger in can hinder your fluency.
It'll just make it choppy.
Choppy. And we want it to sound like we're having a conversation, like we are now, right?
Exactly. Ann helps Dad with the garden. Ben helps Mom with the painting.
Very
and I
good.
love that you'd already been over that word, so it makes it much easier now
Right.
to know what Ben is helping Mom with. We've
Exactly.
got our picture clues as well as the introduction to help with the harder words.
And if at that point the child didn't know the word painting, you could take them back to the meaning of the story. What's going on in the story? What are Ben and Mom doing? Painting. Yes, painting. Let's put that word in and see if it works. Does it look right? Does it make sense?
It does. So it must be the right word. And I know sometimes people go to sound it out as the
Right.
first strategy that
Right.
they tell children to use.
Right.
But when they're at this level and the word is that long, they may not know the AI
Right.
combination, that it would say A, and then there's tricky words.
Right.
So it is a perfectly good strategy
Yes.
to use the meaning to help figure out what words
Absolutely.
are.
Absolutely.
And then along comes Jake.
Yes. That's my favorite part. I love Jake.
Mom helps Dad with the car. Dad helps Ben with the washing. Book introduction help with that, or else I might have said laundry.
Laundry.
Or washing the clothes.
Right.
Ann helps Mom with the bathroom. And then along comes Jake. Ben helps Dad with the windows. Dad helps Mom with the wood. Mom helps Ben with the bike.
Bike. Very
You can
good.
use a picture to help figure that out.
Absolutely.
As well as knowing it starts with a B. Getting our mouth ready for that and starting that B, bike.
Yes.
And then along comes Jake.
Yes. Now look, take a look. Take a look at this picture. They're almost finished with it, aren't they?
Yes.
And along comes Jake.
And they looks like they have a lot more work to do
A
now.
lot more work to do. And you can talk about the comprehension of that story as well. You can talk about what's going on as far as the bike is concerned, that there was only a hole in the tire and the chain needed to be fixed. Now everything is all over the place
Wow.
because Jake is busy.
Well, you know what? Let's stop right now and
All right.
not spoil the ending.
Absolutely. I like that.
Yeah, because there's a chance this might be at your child's school or they could check it out from the library.
It's one of my favorites.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Now, don't go away. Coming up, we have local author Daryl Rackley. He's created the Rack Pack Children's Book Series, and we'll be discussing his wonderful creation right after this short break.
We can all be more energy efficient. It's easy. Use energy-saving light bulbs. Energy Smart Power Strips. and turn off electronics and appliances when not in use. Learn what you can do today at energy.gov/tink.
Welcome back to Book Look. We are thrilled this month to have as our guest local children's author Daryl Rackley. His series of books called The Rack Pack is wonderful reading for young readers. Welcome, Daryl, to our show.
Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate it.
Well, you have a lot of stuff on the table today. Let me guess what your books are about.
Military.
Military.
Oh yeah, supporting the military is really strong with me. I was raised in a military family, been called a military brat my whole life, and this book right here is about my childhood and my brother's childhood. Going out and playing, throwing dirt clods, playing Army, you know, pretending that the enemy is coming, and just having a good old time, and just a kid's imagination will really blossom when he goes out and plays. So.
Have you always been an author?
No, I've worked several different jobs, but I do acting also, and been in a few movies. But I love writing kids' books. I love letting them see how I felt when I was a kid and bringing it to life.
Okay. And so your first book, the Rack Pack, Daryl's Adventure.
Right.
Could you read to us a little bit from that book?
Well, sure.
Just give us a
Daryl's
taste.
Adventure, yeah, Daryl's Adventure goes through and it tells about the people, Mark and Gerald and Lauren, and then of course there was me, the leader of the Rack Pack. I was the smallest, but I had the best aim. I could hit anything with a dirt clod. And then, you know, we would train and we would go into the mud, and I mean, we would crawl. I mean, it was real for us. We believed it. And we would go and we would sneak and hide and look at, you know, just trying to find somebody that we could sneak up on and see how our recon did. It was really, really fun to get out in the woods and just go to it, just have a good time instead of sitting on the couch.
Using your imagination, going outside, playing.
Right. Well, you know, the military is such a wide thing. It's just like these patches. When I was 6 years old, I started collecting patches because a World War II colonel gave me a patch and a medal for cutting his grass. And from that day I was hooked. I mean, it didn't matter if it was military. I wanted to know about it. I wanted to learn about it. I wanted to know that this was the 1st Division, and I wanted to know what that 1st Division did in Vietnam and World War II. I wanted to know everything about it. It was just like life to me. I had to know about it. So when I wrote these books, I wrote my childhood as, you know, the fun you have as kids going around and just playing, just crawling up the ladders, crawling into trees, jumping out of swings, and just the joy that you can have with your fellow friend or a neighbor, and just getting together and just having a ball.
Well, it sounds like these books are going to be extremely interesting. Could we have just a sample, just a little taste
Of the
first
book?
book?
Well, I can start it out, The Rack Pack, Daryl's Adventure. This is a story about my Army and our first dirt clod battle. It all started when I was about 7 years old. My dad was in the Army, so we lived on a military base where a lot of other families lived. There were a lot of kids for me and my 2 brothers to play with. Right here is the playground. We had a big swing, and our neighborhood had the biggest playground I had ever seen. There was a big oak tree, a swing set, 4 swings, and it had a merry-go-round, a teeter-totter, and a barrel roll. And this is me. I love to play Army. Every morning I would put this jacket on, and I would put this hat on, and I would go to it. I love to play Army all the time. I would play Army day and night, rain or shine. I started making friends at the playground. All the kids wanted to play with me. We named our Army group the Rack Pack. In our group was Lauren, the recon expert, Gerald, the lookout, Mark, smokescreen specialist, Rogers, airborne expert, and me, the leader of the Rack Pack. And I'm going to stop right here and kind of tell you about these guys. Lauren, my brother, could sneak up on anybody. It didn't matter where you were, on anybody. Just sneak up on them. And Gerald was the lookout. He could ride up on this barrel roll, faster than anybody and could see the whole playground and see if anybody was coming.
Ah.
So it was really important. I couldn't do it. I was too little. And then Mark was the smoke screen specialist, and Mark was such a neat kid.
Yeah, what does that mean?
He would take dirt and he would put it on the edge of the merry-go-round, and then he'd spin it as fast as he could, and then as the dirt fell off, it would make a cloud of smoke.
Wow.
So it would cover pretty much the some of the playground, and we would run through it and pretend like we're escaping and just having a ball with it. It was really fun. And then Roger, the airborne expert, this is when you would climb a tree or you would hang on the branch and you would drop and you would yell airborne and just have a ball and hit the ground and roll and think you were jumping out of airplanes. Or my favorite was when I was in a swing set and you would swing and then you would jump out at the end and you would just jump out, hit and roll. Oh man, it was so much fun. And everybody loved doing it. Everybody tried to get in the swing and do it. And then of course me. I did everything. It was just fun.
This sounds great. And I love the way that you have such imagination in this book, that you and your friends used your imagination and took what you know about your life experience. And, you know, were your dads all in the military?
Yeah, my dad was 3 tours in Vietnam, and he was military 20 years and retired. My grandfather was in the Navy in Pearl Harbor. Long line of military. Right now my son is serving in the military. And I served in the 2nd Infantry Division in the early 80s. So yeah, the military is in my blood, and I think that everybody should at least learn the history of some of it, you know, and see what your mom and dad had done and see what your grandfathers and grandmothers have done, because a lot of times they have done things that are amazing that they won't talk about, but if you ask them, I bet you could learn a little bit about them.
Probably so. And, you know, this book may be a good springboard to some of those conversations.
Sure, sure. Usually when I do a book signing, kids do love this book, but I'm going to tell you, grandfathers love it too. They loved, because this is how they used to play. One thing about the first story, when we would have a battle where kids would get together and we would throw dirt clods and have a ball, my father at the end of it would give us medals and pin medals on our chest and say, you are a hero, and it just builds your confidence up so much. It just makes you feel like you can achieve and do anything. That a war hero like my father would pin a medal on my chest, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Well, I want to learn more about the Rack Pack.
Okay.
So we'll be back in just a couple minutes with more about the Rack Pack and more about your career as a writer.
Okay. Sounds
And
good.
so, and if someone wanted to get a copy of the Rack Pack, how would they do that?
They would go to my Facebook page, or they could go to, if they went to my Facebook page and just message me, but you can go to any library and pick it up. They are in the libraries, and would love for you to go by and pick them up.
All right, so just look for the Rack Pack.
The Rack
All right,
Pack.
thank you very much. We'll be right back.
I really don't know where I would be without music.
The reason you have the Commodores today is because we started in music in school.
We have been really influenced, I know, including Justin, by music in our schools.
It just makes you feel good.
It's good for the soul.
It brings something out in you that nothing else does.
No kid left behind, no music left behind.
Welcome back. We're here with Daryl Rackley, local author, and he has written the Rack Pack series of children's books. And today we're talking mainly about his first book, The Rack Pack. Thank you, Daryl.
Very welcome, very welcome.
Now, before our break, we talked a little bit about the Rack Pack and the members of the Rack Pack team.
Right.
It's actually a story about Daryl's childhood and how they used their imagination, played military out on the playground, had dirt clod wars, and really just showed that young imagination and playing outside that we don't often see anymore these days.
That's right. That is really right. And you know, the book also has a message in there about bullying also. And I know there was this one time where we were playing a dirt clod war, and all of a sudden, all of a sudden, we started getting bombed with dirt clods.
Dirt clods.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. And we, about a week had passed, and we were at the playground training on the oak tree. All of a sudden, it started raining dirt clods. It was the kids from the other neighborhood. They were attacking us. There were a lot of dirt clods being thrown. We were all getting hit. It was a dirt clod war. We sounded the alarm, and right here, everybody is getting hit. Everybody is getting dirt clods, you know, thrown at them. And what it was is it was a bunch of bullies from the other playgrounds that would attack us and wouldn't let us play on our playground. So what we did is we got together and we formed together and we started saving our dirt clods. And the next time that they came and got us and attacked us, we fought back. And we won by throwing dirt clods, standing up for ourselves, and they didn't bother us anymore. They didn't come and attack us anymore. So, you know.
But you worked as a team,
as
friends
a team.
working together and helping each other.
Right. It was really, really a great thing where, you know, we were being attacked. We got attacked, and all of a sudden, we pulled together as a team, the Rack Pack team, and started bombing them back, and they ran back to their playground, and we had won our first dirt clod war.
I bet the bullies weren't expecting you to stand up for yourselves.
Probably not. But we had trained for it. That's what we were doing, playing military training, and we had little dirt clods on the side. It was really, really, really fun.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, looking around the table, you have a lot of items here that show great support for the military. Can you tell us about a few of the items on the table?
Sure, sure. I have, of course, the patches, which signify the units that people have been in. Everybody would wear a stripe on their uniform, and it tells what they are. And of course, my favorite is the little plastic Army men in tanks. Now, there is nothing more fun than taking a box of tanks and plastic Army men and going out to a construction site where there's dirt clod, or even in your yard, and get dirt clods and throwing them at them and blowing them up and see who wins. I mean, a dirt clod hits and the man goes flying up in the air, smoke, it looks like it blew the tank up. So much fun. And of course, the different various hats. I have a Marine hat right there, which is Digital Command. And then I've got a Australian Vietnam hat, which is really hard. They had to be hard for the jungle out there. And then I've got a tiger stripe, which was usually worn by the special forces in Vietnam to hide. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can collect in the military. You can do uniforms. If the uniforms are all rotten, you can cut the sleeve off and save it just like it was.
And get the patches.
Sure. Yeah, it's really fun. And, you know, my next book is called The Eagle's Nest. And the Eagle's Nest is where we had so much fun with this one. We went to their fort and we started playing with them. So then you got to kind of see what happens. But the Eagle's Nest is a little serious because they started to defend their fort too, and it was really fun.
But at the end, you guys decided to become friends?
We became
and worked
friends.
it all out.
Worked it all out and became friends. We played together and just had a good old time.
And you have a third book as well, correct?
Correct. It's Bunker Hill, The War at Bunker Hill. Most of my books are named like The Rack Pack, The Eagle's Nest. Of course, The Eagle's Nest was, in World War II, was Hitler's main thing that we had bombed and took over. The War at Bunker Hill, of course, the War at Bunker Hill in the Revolutionary War. We fought for a piece of land. All our friends had got together, and it was kind of like King of the Hill. But, of course, we had dirt clods, and we were throwing and rolling and just goofing off and having a ball. But whoever could stay on top of the hill won the Battle of Bunker Hill. And that is what most of my stories are about. I would love to have 10 more of them, of all these little things that happened to me in my life, where we made a raft and went down. I was going to call that D-Day, because we made a raft, the kids got together, and when we hit the land, we jumped off, and then kids were bombing us. So much fun, so much fun.
Well, when I look at your books, in addition to children enjoying them, I think that parents probably would like them, grandparents, people who kind of had their childhood like the Rack Pack did.
Sure.
These days, kids just don't have the same type of freedom that they did back then.
Right.
Kids can play like this at the playground, but there needs to be an adult watching them. Where back in, when we were younger, you could have a little bit more freedom with playing outside and
Right.
doing more adventurous things than children often can do today.
Right, right, yeah, you
So-
are right.
So I think this will have a big attraction to older people.
Right. Well, you know, a lot of people will come to the book signings and they are older and they sit there and they'll flip through and they're like, oh my heavens, I remember this. This was me. This was me. This book is about me. And I'm like, well, it's my story, but yeah, it could be about you too because you lived it and you did it. And it's just so much fun.
Yes.
It is really just, it's nothing like getting together and sneaking up on your friends. It's nothing like going to their house and getting little plastic toys and just having the camaraderie with all the kids in the neighborhood.
Right.
Nothing like it.
Because now a lot of kids are on Minecraft or doing different digital video games instead
Right.
of going outside and playing.
Well, they tend to lose a lot of the fellowship. They tend to lose because they're doing this and playing online and sitting on the couch where they're not getting out and actually having human contact and having fun, running in the woods, experiencing things that the TV will not give them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is really an exciting collection. If you go and collect military stuff, just ask somebody. You know, if they give you a patch, ask them what they did in the military. It would definitely be very interesting. It's better than coins. It's better than baseball cards. It's definitely really fun.
And did I hear that you've also written a screenplay about the Rack Pack and are working on making a major motion picture?
There will be a picture shot. It's going to be called, of course, the Rack Pack, and it's pretty much the Goonies / Sandlot, but we're using military kids, military brats, going out and they are attacking the bad guys that come and try to ruin their town.
Wonderful. Well, it's time to wrap up our segment.
Okay.
If you want more information on the Rack Pack, go to Facebook and look up the Rack Pack to find more information. Now don't go away. We'll be right back to wrap up the show after a short break. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Book Look. If you would like more tips or suggestions on helping your child become a stronger reader, then check with the literacy coach at your child's school. If you'd like to check out the Rack Pack series of books, then stop at your local library or order a copy online at the Rack Pack on Facebook. On behalf of the entire NHCS TV crew, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, right here on Book Look.